Hello. So today we are going to see the fourth chapter, the force, torque and strain measurement. So I have taken the material from various books as well as the material from the internet source. So here I mentioned the reference books, Mechanical Measurement by D.S. Kumar and Instrumentation Measurement and Analysis by Nakra Chowdhury, N.K. Chowdhury. So as you are in third year, you must know what is force, what is torque and what is strain. You know what force, the unit of force is Newton, the unit of torque is Newton meter, and strain, there is a no unit of the strain. So you know force. So in your syllabus, force measurement is there, only static force measurement. So the force measurement can be done by using two ways. The first one, static force, and second, the dynamic force. In case of static force, the balance load cell, hydraulic load cell, pneumatic load cells as well as elastic force devices are used. In case of dynamic force measurement, the electromechanical transducers, LVDTs, cantilever load cells, force measurement, ring type cell, force measurement, cylindrical type cells are used. So these are what the force sensors which are generally used to measure the sensor. The first figure shows the load cell where you have to keep the load. So by using the load arrangement, it measures the load and it will give the reading. Second, the strain gauges. Okay, the strain gauges are very delicate, but they can use to measure the strain by applying the load or by applying the force. They can change the resistance, and these are what the force sensitive resistors. So these are what some electronic transducers which are generally used for force measurement. So moving toward the next, we will cover we will try to cover all types of force measurement devices. The first one, that is load cell. So this figure contains one horizontal balance principle, so which contains one horizontal beam, or you can consider anything which is supported by one member, and the force is applied from the one end and the member is at the distance L from the first point. So you can consider this point as a first point. So as the load is applied or force is applied, so because of force application, this principle or this beam will be unbalanced. To balance the principle or to balance this beam, we have to apply some amount of mass, or we can consider as a load, so that the beam will be balanced. So you can consider this distance as a small l, that is the second load applied on the other end at a distance of l. So when this principle is or when this beam is balanced, this principle is known as a balance principle. So from the both side the load is applied, that's why it is known as a balance load principle. So the when the system is equilibrium, so in this case the FL is equal to mgl, so L can be cancelled and F is equal to mg. So F is equal to mg means the unit of F is Newton, so m is kg, and g means acceleration due to gravity, so kg meter per second square, that is a Newton. So this is nothing but the simple principle used to measurement of a force. Next, the figure shows the hydraulic load cell. So hydraulic load cell, as the word is hydraulic, it contains the oil. So the figure shows the oil chamber, so in which the oil is placed or hydraulic oil is placed. At one end the pressure gauge is connected. At the upper side there is a diaphragm cover. Diaphragm, as you know, as we learn in the first chapter, the diaphragm is nothing but the elastic member, so which gives which gives the displacement. So because of that displacement we can measure the different quantities. So as the pressure is applied from the upper side, because of elasticity, the diaphragm also deflates and it exerts the pressure on the oil. So because of the pressure exerting on the oil, the pressure indicator gives the pressure reading. So whatever the pressure is recorded, so that pressure divided by that pressure into area under the diaphragm or area of the diaphragm gives the force quantity. So pressure into area is nothing but the force. So you know the pressure unit, that is Newton per meter square into area, that is meter square. So meter square gets cancelled. What remains? Only the Newton. So this is nothing but the force measurement by using the hydraulic load cell. So hydraulic pressure is used to indicate force F. The second point, it can be used up a very large forces or the order of millions of newtons. So by using this load cell, we can measure the huge number of the force or the order of millions of newtons. I hope you understand this, the first two types of the force measurement. The next is pneumatic load cell. So as the word is pneumatic, it uses the air or compressed air. So it can be used up to 20 kilonewton as I mentioned here. So it measures up to 20 kilonewton load. The figure contains again one chamber, but what is the difference between this hydraulic load cell chamber and pneumatic load cell chamber? So at the bottom, from the bottom side, there is a nozzle, okay, which is moving towards what the upper side of the chamber, and there is a small gap between the top surface and the this nozzle. Second thing, at here the orifice arrangement is present, and the pressure indicator is there to measure the force. The principle remains same, that is pressure into area is nothing but the force. But what happens? So in this case, the pressure P1, measured pressure P1, the compressed air supply is passing from this orifice. So because of this orifice, see here, the area reduced, so it creates some amount of back pressure. So known pressure of pressure is passing from this pipe to this chamber. So the chamber acquires the compressed air. After some time, the pressure is applied from the top surface on the diaphragm. So as you know, the diaphragm is having the elasticity. So diaphragm compresses the air and it reduces the gap. So as it reduces the gap, automatically the pressure will be built up because of the resistance creates here. So once the pressure is applied, what will happen? So it reduces the gap and automatically it indicates the pressure P2. So for, as I mentioned here, for any force F, the system attains equilibrium and pressure P2 gives the indication of the force. So whatever the pressure P2 and the area gives the required quantity of the pressure. So in some books, the author has mentioned, if the force is if the pressure is again increased and the gap is again reduced due to addition of the pressure, so it is trying to repulsion of the diaphragm, repulsion of the diaphragm against the pressure. So in some books, the author has mentioned such kind of things. Okay, so it can be used for up to 20 kilonewton. So simple principle is here. Next, elastic force devices. So all of you already have studied this part under the strength of material. Now the simple axially loaded elastic member is here. So the pressure applied from the both side. So because of this pressure, you can consider this a bar, it will be elongate. So the L can be changed to L plus DL, or you can consider any length. So these devices are used to measure static and dynamic forces also. The force applied static member result in the displacement. So as I mentioned, the force applied or pressure applied from the both side or only single side results in the displacement. So, or the strain in elastic member sensed by the mechanical or electromechanical means. So in this case, you can consider P as a force. P is nothing but the force, A is nothing but the cross section area of the bar, and E is nothing but the Young's modulus, and K is nothing but the stiffness. But in mechanical measurement, we can consider K is nothing but the sensitivity. So here the strain is nothing but the force upon area into Young's modulus, and sensitivity or stiffness is nothing but the Young's modulus into area upon L. So these elastic force devices are used to measure static as well as the dynamic forces. Next, simple, that is cantilever type elastic member. So in case of cantilever beam, one end is fixed and other end is free. So we can apply the force on one end at a distance L. So as well as because of this force application, so bar can be deflect in this direction. So here we can consider the T is nothing but the thickness of the bar, and B is nothing but the width of the bar. So in this method, the strain at the root of the cantilever is calculated. So these are the formulas to calculate what the strain, that is 6 into force into length of the bar divided by Young's modulus Bt square. Young's modulus Bt square, and the stiffness is nothing but the force upon deflection at the free end, and this is the formula, that is K is equal to E into Bt cube divided by 4L cube. So these are what some members which are used to calculate the force. Again, load cell, where the balance principle is used, FL is equal to mgl. In case of hydraulic load cell, the hydraulic oil is used, the force applied on the upper side, and it will give what the pressure in pressure gauge. So pressure gauge reading into area of the under the diaphragm is nothing but the force. Similar principle used in load cell, but only medium is changed, that is air medium, and it can be used up to 20 kilonewton. This is elastic force, as we have seen. Next, the last point in your syllabus, that is a mechanical method or proving rings. The proving ring is also known as one elastic ring, which is having the circular, which is having in circular shape. So this is the figure of a proving ring, which is in circular manner. So at two end, the two ends are connected by dial gauge. In some cases, it can be connected by using the LVDT. So these are what the external ring, and these are the inner rings. So what happen if you apply the compressive force, if you apply the compressive force from the two sides, so dial gauge gives what the reading. Dial gauge gives the reading, and the proving ring must be the proving ring must change its shape. Similarly, you can apply the tensile force also, so that again the shape of the proving ring will be changed. So in that manner, we can measure the compressive force as well as the tensile force by using the proving ring. At the center, there is a dial gauge. So dial gauge, you can change this gauge also. You can apply LVDT, you can apply any other device to measure the force. So for measuring the deflection of the elastic element due to the applied force, the mechanical method involving the use of dial gauge may be used. So mostly in exam, as per exam point of view, you can draw the dial gauge. In some cases, instead of dial gauge, micrometer LVDTs are used. So as I mentioned here, in some cases, instead of dial gauge, the micrometers are also used. So this is nothing but the simple pressure measuring devices as in your syllabus. Thank you.